Alright, so that should get that. So match length is going to be the opt dot match length seconds. So that's all we have to do with that. And then left, what do we need for this? So our game state has, I believe, we replicate game options. It's in the level actor, isn't it? Yeah, it's got this next state time in here. So where is this? This game state data? And that's the one? Yeah, it's the one, right? Alright, so we'll grab the original end time. Yeah, maybe the original end time isn't the right one for this, since it's not replicated. Alright, let's see if that does it. So let's see, I'm trying to look at my forums real quick. Alright, well I guess I can't really do what I want with some of this stuff. Alright, well let's just make sure we can compile this out and then fix this. What? We save that. Blueprint callable is only allowed when it's... That's not fucking true at all. No, blueprint callable is for functions. Yeah, I don't think this saved or something because that's not correct. Oh, it needs to be U function? Right. So just simple stuff. Just looking at the forums, just seeing if there's anything I need to set for tomorrow. Because, I don't know, we'll see if we release the update today or tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow based on Adam not being online, and I think he has kind of one day of work he wants to do on the UI, making it his own thing. Because, well, the UI I put together has a certain engineering sort of style to it, which is ugly and ugly. So it's usually better when he gets his hands on it to make it not so horrifying. So the other thing would be to have some sort of playlist configuration stuff that I can start using and kind of get that to working. I'll have to look into that. I want to get some of these bugs fixed before I add the configuration, because the configuration stuff for playlists is all data driven, so I actually don't have to blow up all of our game servers to and like do like a huge massive redeploy in order to implement that feature, so I'd rather not unless I have to. I could write up the wiki page for how to configure your local playlists and add server options. I'll probably do that once I fix this clock stuff. Alright, so we've browsed games and test. There are a few, but that's the dedicated servers. I want to create a game. Attempting to begin hosting. Discoverable is true. And let's see what we're actually reporting here. So we should have match length in seconds. And the match length left. Let's just wait for our heartbeat to happen. So number is 120, which is correct, and number is 91. That looks about right. Let's go to the game browser and make sure that it happens. So it says match length is 131. Alright, yeah, so that is now fixed. Excellent. So let's mark that off. Okay, so we want another place here for playlists. Alright, so this is going to be dedicated server playlist config. So let me take a look at what I've actually got for this. So basically this playlist config file is what we're looking for. Let me also see how this markup stuff works. Okay, so dedicated server playlist 1, 2, 3. Setting up local playlist configuration. You can set up a custom playlist for your local dedicated server by creating a playlist config file. Let me do pre-formatted text in here. Alright, text is quote, quote, quote. Alright. Here is an example configuration file. Quote, quote, quote. Let's see what that looks like. It didn't work at all, did it? Reformatted text block. I guess I need to have no wiki in it. I can read documentation. Didn't fucking work at all. I mean, really? Christ. Right, so it's complete garbage. It's not gonna let me use spaces. Embedded file? I can't believe it's not letting... I'll see maybe if it's some tab to spaces sorts of stuff. No, it's still complete trash. Editing the wiki, yeah. There we go. I'll change my channel to this is how you edit a wiki with I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't get it. Like, it's the damn no wiki shit, and it doesn't do it. It doesn't preserve fucking any of it. Like, all right, cool. We're not gonna do anything. Like, is there? maybe it's just got the wrong command? Good old doc. Yeah, there we go. Fucking documentation is just wrong. It's bullshit. I hate it when that happens. Alright, so here is an example config file. To add a, in order to add a new game mode to the playlist, you need to add a new object onto the E2, I guess. Add your new custom option to the custom options portion of the JSON object. Add your make sure to give it a unique name. Add your new custom option to the custom modes portion while we're in the file. Add a new custom mode to the custom modes portion of your file. Add your custom option into the option sets portion of your custom mode. If you want it to always be an available option, make sure to set always in rotation to true for your custom mode. Your playlist file must be called playlist config.json and must be in the same directory as your, what do we call, setup.bat? It's called server. Yeah, it's called setup.bat. Let me see, I've got some other command line options that might allow other things. Yeah, server config path, server start level override, server config path, playlist, yeah. If you wish to point to a different playlist config, I guess I should say, to specify your playlist to be used, you must to specify, I guess I should say, the first playlist in the list is what your dedicated server will use. I think that's about it for this thing. We're gonna need a list of options that we can do. So let me just snag that. So I'll just snag all these and then I'll have a short description with all of them to say what they are. Alright, so alright, so we have ball linear damping, and this will be, if I put out like a little dash here, this will be, I kind of want a table of some form. Let's see what the format for a table is. going to be general formatting. Okay, so it kind of looks like this sort of thing. Let's see how it looks. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with wikis. Okay, so for headers, it's going to be, this will be the value, default, description, so this will be the name, default value, I don't really understand, so well, it almost worked. I guess I have to have a, that's like, that means that there's a thing here, and that means there's like an end. All linear damping, value, description. Okay, okay, here we go. So we have to, do it sort of like that, I guess. What am I doing with my life? I'm just ending up editing fricking wikis, writing documentation for the program that I made. It's like when they ask you what you want to be when you grow up, and you're like, you know what I want to be? I want to be a tech writer. It says, nobody, ever. I'm sure a few people will actually want to mess with some of this. I know at least one person will probably want to make their own playlist and have fun messing around with values, like, you know, let's make it so people are super slow and the ball's super fast, or vice versa, or people can jump forever. Alright, let's see if that worked like I think it's supposed to. Didn't do shit. Didn't work at all. Why not? Is it because it's one line? Yeah, it looks like it's because it's one line. So all these have to be like things like this. Which I can kind of see what they're doing with their formatting. But damn. It's gonna take me a little while to reformat everything then. Yeah, and this is game development. A lot of it is just doing tedious stuff like this, where I think that's one of the things is when people say like, I want to be a game designer. You're like, yeah, well, welcome to your first job. What you're doing is you're editing this 5,000 line text file with XML, which defines the entire project. Good luck with that. Well, is there any documentation? No. Maybe you should write some. Fun times. It's kind of funny, like, that programming and game development and things like that go from really complicated systems, like, where you spend all day scratching your head and trying to figure out, how are we going to efficiently update, 2,000 agents on this pathfinding grid with dynamic terrain and all sorts of shit. And then the other side of it is just this extremely tedious data entry portion of it, where you're like, well, what we need to do is rebalance all the items in the game, so I want you to go through the loot table and update everything. Make the rare items drop 5% less, and you have to edit every single line of this giant document. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Because that was one of the things I think back in, I don't know, when computers were first starting to become something that was going to be a thing. It's kind of funny because they thought that women were going to dominate the field because of the amount of tediousness, the tedium with which you need to update things. There's actually like old television shows around that where they'll have like kind of a like old comedy show where a bunch of women doing programming. It's just really funny. Just how differently the field is shook up or shaken out in modern day. God, so many new lines. Why did I make so many goddamn game options? If I had just made no game options, I wouldn't have to write anything. And then if I edit any of these, the documentation will be out of date. Really, I shouldn't make features. I should just stop developing. Because every time I do something, it just makes more work. So I should just quit while there's less work. Throw in the towel. That's it. Game's finished. Alright, let's make sure we got our formatting as we expect. Yeah, that's looking fine. Alright, so linear ball damping. Default is 1. This is how fast the ball slows down when moving. This is multiplied by the force, so to make the ball slow down faster, make this number larger. This is how fast the ball stops rolling. This is multiplied by the force. So to make the ball slow down faster, make this number larger. Ball gravity multiplier 1.0. This is how fast the ball falls back to the ground. This is multiplied by the force, so to make the ball come down faster, make this number larger. Ball hit speed multiplier. This is how fast the ball goes when it gets hit. To make the ball go faster when struck, make this number larger. Ball scale. This is how big the ball is. To make the ball larger, make this number bigger. Ball number. This is how many balls will be spawned into the level. It's pretty self-explanatory. Players can hit other team. True. This is if people can hit each other. To disable, set to false. Players can hit their team. False. This is if players can hit their own team members. To enable, set to true. Player stun duration 1.0. This is how long stun lasts. This is multiplied by the base value. So to make players stunned for longer, increase this value, increase this number. Player stun force. This is how far players fly when struck. This is multiplied by the base value. So make players fly farther, increase this number. Player stun immunity. This is how long stun immunity lasts. Okay, has sudden death, value true. If this controls if a tie game results in sudden death or not. To disable, set this to false. Can kick true. This controls if players can kick each other. This controls if players can punch each other. I guess I should say just can kick. Can punch. This controls if players can use the pop-up move. This controls if players can jump at all. It is recommended not to touch this. Can slide. True. This controls if players can use their slide moves. True. This controls if characters can dash. This controls if characters are forced to crawl. Let's see, one speed is 1.0. This controls how fast players are. To make players faster, make this number larger. Player gravity, 1. This controls how fast players fall back to the ground. To make players fall faster, increase this number. Attack speed 1.0. This controls how fast players attack. This means this controls how fast the animation, how long attack is played for, and increasing it will make players more responsive to controls. Has team indicators, true. This controls if team indicators for your team are displayed. False. This controls if team indicators for other teams are displayed. This controls if all indicators are present. This controls if players are reset when a goal is scored. This controls if the ball is reset instantly instead of counting down. This controls if balls are spawned continuously instead of keeping a set number of them in play. This is 5.0. This is how many seconds elapse between continuously spawning a new ball. Set this to true to set the AI as always being in hard mode. Set this to true to set the AI as never being able to be in hard mode. Okay, never attack, false. Set this to true to prevent AI from attacking players or other AI. This value controls how quickly bots anger to make them anger faster. Increase this value. What balance bots? False. This is currently not implemented, but when it is, it will automatically spawn bots to fill up your game. Stealth teams, false. Set this to true to have players enter stealth mode when not performing an action. Stealth mode means that you cannot see players on opposing teams' stealth nameplates. Set this to true to hide opposing players' nameplates. Set this to true to enable stealth mode only when crouched. This will hide crouched players from the opposing team. Stealth broken with balls attached is true. Set this to false to reveal players when balls are following them. Crouch hides name. I think that's true. Set this to false to reveal nameplates when crouching. It switches team, false. Set this to true to have players switch to the hitting player's team when struck. Stop, switches team, false. Alright, so this is kick switches team. This triggers the game over when there is only one person left on a team. Shuffle teams, false. Set this to true to shuffle teams at the start of every match. Ball sticks last player hit, false. Set this to true to have balls follow players when they get hit. Ball sticks to the last player who hit. True. Ball unsticks. Set this to false to have balls. Set this to true to have balls be lost when a player is struck. Ball stolen on player who hit. Set this to true to have a player steal another player's balls when when they strike them. Give me all your balls. Let's see. Ball unstuck when player is hit. This is true. Set this to false. Set this to true. To have balls unstick from a player when that player is struck. And this is 0.6. This is the ball struck. Player speed modifier. This controls how fast a player is when balls are following them. It is applied recursively, so a player with more balls will always run slower. Ball unstuck when player attacks. That's true. Set this to true to have balls unstick from a player when they attack and don't hit anything. I think that's what it is. Player runs onto wall, true. Okay, so set this to false to have players never run into walls and get stunned. Player air jumps, default value is 0. Set this to the number of jumps that a player can perform while in the air before needing to touch the ground. Player jump modifier. Set this to how strong, to how high a player can jump. A higher number means a higher jump. Extra ball bounce. Default false. Set this to true to have the ball bounce much more. Set this to true to have the ball bounce much less. Alright.